we're live. Jesse Dobeck here, the Beyond Big Influence show. And I have a very, very special guest here today. One of the people that's most dear to me in the whole world, honestly. Like, you know, Sonia, she really needs no introduction. She's absolutely taken over the internet lately with the stuff that she's putting out. You know, she's got so much value to give the world. We're going to talk about her Beyond Big Influence today, what she's done to impact so many people, impact me. You know, I'm going to talk personally how she's impacted my life. And she's just an amazing human being. Okay. She's put in so much work and dedication to helping other people and servicing the world throughout the years. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She has multiple books. We're going to talk about those. She's got multiple courses, I think over 20 courses. I don't know how many books, but a lot of books. We'll talk all about that. And she is absolutely a gem. Okay. She's the queen of intuition. Sonia, how you doing?
Hi, Jesse. I'm happy to be with you and honored to be able to chat with you and everybody else listening. And I'm just great.
Yeah, she's awesome. And right now she's in London. She's going back and forth from Paris to London. She's got a new grandchild, right?
Yeah. Well, she's not too new. She's 15 months old. And
that's new.
She's the entertainment of my life. Honest to God, I've never had so much fun. I was just hanging out with someone as this little kid. She's the best.
Yeah. So that's your first grandchild?
Yep. In fact, my daughter sent me a picture. We look alike. It's pretty impressive. There's definitely a strong connection between her and I. My age and her age, I look just like her. So it's kind of wild. I never saw that, but she put the two together today. It was like, okay.
You got a twin.
I do.
You're reincarnated. No, that's awesome. Yep. No, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. You know, my mom is still asking me for grandkids, so I can only imagine, you know, the joy that you must feel when that happens.
I got to tell you, I was never one of those moms. You know, it's like have a kid, don't have a kid. I'm doing my life. And so 100%. So I'm surprised actually how much fun this is, because it wasn't something I was holding on for. You know, I didn't have any investment one way or the other. So what I will say and what the benefit is, and especially just for what I do in life, watching and teaching people how to live authentically, intuitively, spontaneously, she is the poster child. I am watching that, and it's an affirmation that we all start out pretty aware. Pretty conscious, pretty clear, pretty in tune. And you know, so she's my teacher to help me get people back to that, help get back into that totally organic, spontaneous flow of trusting yourself. So it's been been good for me. It's a good experience. I'm making me a better teacher.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, guys, just so you know, Sonia is the queen of intuition. When we actually met, her intuition was like, you know, I got to meet you. And the way that she described it to me, like her experience, and there was a couple stories, and I'll let her tell it, but I just want to kind of give my experience of who Sonia is and some background so you guys understand her true superpower. Now, she's told me stories about where she was going to move into a house that was like her dream house, and then something came into her brain or subconscious or gut or heart, told her like, hey, we need to not go here. And then literally the house got flooded or something like that, right? I mean, like she's got stories like that. And then when we met, you know, she was knocking down my door and I was kind of like skeptical of like, you know, if I wanted to work with her, if it was going to pay off or whatever. I was back when I was working with like Brendon, Burchard and a bunch of people. And then she's like, you know, I really want to work with you. It's really going to pay off, you know, and then she was right. I mean, it was probably one of the easiest client / you know, work that I've done where it was mutually beneficial. And it was absolutely like, you know, just win all the way around. So she has this sixth sense, if you will. I don't know how to describe it. Sonia, how can you describe to the people what it is that your superpower provides the world?
I have a superpower, but it's not exclusive to me.
Oh, okay.
We all have a superpower. We have a sixth sense. And the important thing to know is that we can't really live at our highest level and achieve our greatest potential without it operating. And it's the ability to perceive the world through your heart and through your gut and through your skin and through energy, and not just through the five physical outer senses. And this sixth sense, I call it your intuitive intelligence. It's the next level past emotional intelligence. It is starting to activate, but I've had it all my life. And the reason I've had it all my life is because I grew up in a family where it was expected, it was allowed, it was encouraged. So my gift is the incubator that made it grow, more than being exclusively, if you grow up in a family of musicians, you're going to have the gift of probably growing your own musical talent, right? And I had the gift of a family incubator that really prioritized intuition above everything else. And I also had the gift of 6 siblings. So in order to get my mom's attention, I had to be really good at this. You know, there was this natural competition of who's going to be the most intuitive was what got recognized. So I got really good at it this very young. I can see, sense, and feel energy and motion before physical things happen. Like the house. I found a house with my husband, and we were going to buy this house, and I wanted it, checked all the boxes. It was part of my visualization, but right before we were to close on the house, I got the vibration, we cannot buy this house. I didn't get the explanation. I just got, don't do it. So I said, from my experience, this information is actually legitimate and has value, so we're not going to do it. And I had to really put up with a lot of crap. My husband was furious. He couldn't deal with it. The realtor thought I was nuts. The buyer said, why? And I said, it's because I am an intuitive person and I have bad vibes. So then they thought I was nuts, and I was okay with that. I was like, call me whatever, weirdo, nuts, I don't care. I trust my vibes. And I'm going to live, I'll stand by that. Well, we were supposed to sign at the end of July. It would have been our first house. We were young, no money, big deal. Starting the first week of August, for the next 6 weeks, it rained in Chicago. And this house was on a floodplain. And it completely was destroyed. So I teach people. So my whole life has been this way, but I teach people how to turn this energy on in you, and I'm really good at it.
Yeah. So if somebody's listening right now, I mean, I have some questions definitely that came up there. So what was the feeling inside of you that said we can't do this? Like what describe the intuition?
Well, that's a good question.
I
like to tell people intuition is physical.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck in your head all the time, you're not going to feel this energy because it's subtle. Okay. It's not going to hit you over the head, okay? But you can do something like this, just rub your hands and shake them out and do this. Yeah. And if you pay attention, you can feel this energy. Yeah. Our bodies pick up energy. Yeah. And there's 3 places in your body that are hypersensitive to energy. Your gut, your stomach, and even sciences. I mean, this is now current science. So anybody who doesn't believe in this, you're with the flatliners who say the earth is flat. Okay, we've moved forward. So don't be stuck in old century science. Yeah. Our stomach is even called the second brain because it's conscious, and our heart is conscious. It's aware. Point example, you have a heart transplant, all of a sudden you're conscious of the person's heart that you received because it's conscious. It's not just this dead matter. So we have 3 spots. The first spot is your gut, and I call that your red light. That's your no. That's your intuitive no. Got a gut feeling. It's your protective instinct. It's our instinct for survival, for protection. So you're going to feel this subtle tension in your gut. It's like a zzz. It's, you know, some people call it a spidey sense because we have to find language for it, but it's a feeling in your gut. And it's, people will say, I've taught all over the world, and that people will say when they have a bad vibe or a caution, they will say, no matter what culture, what country, my gut. And
my gut instinct,
men
right?
men will say my gut because men are wired to be protectors. So they're already going to be a little bit more dialed in there than their heart. So that's the protective instinct. So when I got don't go there, I just had this gut feeling that wouldn't go away, that this is not okay. Now, here's where it becomes a superpower. Here's where it frustrates you, and then here's how to make it a superpower. So it'll frustrate when you have the gut feeling and your response is, I don't understand, explain. Because intuition isn't going to come through your intellect, which gives the explanations, right? And the explanation, it hasn't had the experience yet, so it's getting the direct energy that the storm is coming, but the brain is behind. So the person who says, I have to explain, I don't get this, will ignore it, and then they will have bought the flooded house. Now, here's where it becomes a superpower. I have a gut feeling, I don't need an explanation. It's enough. We're out. That's me. That's where the superpower comes in. Then you have the heart. So I call the gut your red light intuition. That's your protection. Then you have your green light intuition. My heart says, and it opens. You're pulled in. Like my heart says, for example, I should move to Cabo. Okay, now your brain goes, give me an explanation. Why? You can't. Because you haven't had the experience yet. But you went with it. You know, that was a heart thing. It's not a logic information. And I say intuition, you're picking something up. It's information. It's just coming through an energy channel, not through your outer senses. But all of your senses are picking up vibration. But your gut and your heart pick up energy in a stronger way than your other five senses. And then we have what I call your yellow light. And your yellow light is kind of between the heart and the gut, and that energy is wait. Get more information. It's like it's too soon. You can't. And that's when you're like, well, I'm gonna make that deal, but something. It doesn't say no, but it doesn't say go. So you have to pay attention. And the way to learn to do that is to start checking. Just ask your gut, what does my gut say on this? What does my heart say on this? You know, is it a red light, a green light, or a yellow light? And your body, if you start paying, it's like, if you start cooking and all of a sudden you notice spices, pretty soon you're going to notice all the spices. You know, you just ignored them because it wasn't important to you. But if you make it important, this stuff becomes pretty obvious pretty quick because it's natural.
That's all amazing. We're getting people in the comments saying stuff like, I read the book called Magic by Rhonda Byrne, or like The Secret. Those
books talk about the possibilities of listening to your gut, listening to your heart. So my books give you the skill set, how to actually do this yourself, very step by step. And the big book I have, I wrote the book Trust Your Vibes 20 years ago, and I just rewrote the book Trust Your Vibes. And because life has changed, my tool set of teaching you the skills evolved with it. So that you read the book Magic, or you read The Secret, they talk about the possibility, but they don't give you the details. And that's what I have devoted myself in my entire life to, giving you the actual steps to make this a reliable, consistent sense for you.
That's amazing. How long have you been intuitive and teaching this stuff?
50 years.
50 years. Wow. How did you get into it?
My mom
to do it?
My mom was intuitive. She was deaf. She was a refugee in World War II. She lost her family. She was in a concentration camp. And her survival skills kicked this in. She was a liberated prisoner of war. She met my father at 15, married him because she had nobody. And that was my mother, this very creative, very resilient, very intuitive, deaf person who said what saved my life was I trusted my vibes, and that's what you have to do too. So that was our value base, was never what does other people say. Never. She didn't even speak English. She was Romanian.
Oh, wow.
So she had no authority. There was no authority figure saying you got to do it this way or that way. So she would say, if I would ask my mom as a kid, can I go play with my friend Susie? She'd say, well, before I answer, what does your heart say? Is it good for you? And that's how I grew up, always referring back to, before I tell you, what does your own spirit tell you? And she referred to that life force as your spirit. So it was extraordinarily empowering because I learned very young to check in with me, not to find some authority to give me direction. In fact, we were very rebellious. Authority figures didn't exist much in our family. We didn't listen to them. She didn't listen to anything because she used to say, I'm so fortunate I'm deaf, I can't hear nonsense. I'm so lucky. Yeah. So it was just how I was tuned. I was tuned to listen to energy and not people's noise.
Yeah.
And that's how I teach others. So I taught my own first class when I was 15.
15? Wow.
And I didn't need an authority to give me permission. I just knew not having vibes is the worst handicap you can have. It's like, how can you go into this world and be safe and be secure and make good decisions without your vibes telling you how to do it, without them working for you? We all have them. They're natural. Yeah. Why shut them down? Why, for God's sakes? That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, one thing that comes to mind, Sonia, I mean, this is the Beyond Big Influence show. You're somebody that has a lot of confidence. You're teaching classes at 15. You've been doing this for 50 years. I mean, you really strongly not even believe, because I don't like the word believe.
No, I know.
It has the word lie in the middle, right? And people are like, I believe this is going to happen. It's like, okay, you absolutely 110% know.
Absolutely.
Well, 110 is not realistic, but 100% that this is real. And you go out
I know,
there
and I know, and I'm not the only one. If you talk to any creative person who has had any degree of success, first of all, we are called the fools by the people who are trying to.
Who are the fools? And that entrepreneurs or people?
Anybody who does something original following their own inner compass. We are fools.
Yes, 100%.
And I embrace that.
Yep.
I say, call me a fool, because first they call you a fool, then they watch for a while, and then they call you a genius.
Yeah, that's the opposite, right?
But in my new book, Trust Your Vibes, and I'll show it to you in a minute, my very last chapter of my new version is called Dance in the Fire. Oh. And you have to dance in the fire of other people's rolled eyes and disapproval and want your explanation and challenge and dismiss you. And that, I call that dancing in the fire. That just dance in the fire and you become immune. And my confidence comes from integrity, because intuition puts you in integrity with yourself. You aren't congruent with your spirit. It's when your head and your heart and your gut and your feet and your words are all moving in alignment. You are going to succeed. Yeah. But you have to learn that if the energy changes, you got to change with it. It's not static. It's dynamic. It's like surfing. It's like that house was excellent until the weather changed. I wasn't going to sit around and explain to anybody why we had. And actually, to tell you the truth, my husband divorced me because I was too much. He wanted the explanations. That is exactly why he couldn't live with me. I scared
he couldn't relate to that, right?
No, in spite of the endless miracles, his ego was more the driver of the bus of his life, and my ego sits in the back seat and has to watch and learn, but it's my spirit that drives the bus. And it's a courage. You get confidence. Courage. You get confidence from living authentically and courageously.
Yeah.
100%. A million times I show up and I could be afraid, but what I'm more afraid of is abandoning myself. I would rather deal with this might not work out versus I'm living in my head and being a control freak and I'm not being congruent. That is my fear. I would never want to live that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing. The confidence, you have full control over you, right? You can't control the outside world, but you have full control over you. And that gives you power. It gives you, acceptance.
The other
of yourself.
thing I have, Jesse, is I trust my spirit, but I also trust the spirit. Like I trusted your spirit. I didn't trust I call your ego your barking dog. I didn't trust your barking dog. Your barking dog dismissed me.
Yeah.
You did. I'm used to that. I don't take it personally. Your ego's your protective, this is what I know, but it's not connecting to what's actually happening.
Yeah, 100%.
So I trusted, he has these preconceived notions. He doesn't know me. He's got to know me. Then he'll know.
Yeah.
So I trust the spirit in other people. I trust the goodness of the universe. I absolutely do. And I trust that if my spirit is aligned with higher spirit and the spirit in others, the outcome's going to be pretty darn good.
100%.
And it has worked for all these years, not just for me. Look at people like Steve Jobs. He was called a fool. And when he said it, the commencement speech, his great commencement speech is listen to your heart.
Yeah.
Listen to your heart. That's intuition central. Einstein says, listen to your heart. Listen to your intuition. It is your superpower. It is your sacred gift. So I'm in good company. I'm okay to, and in fact, the first chapter of Trust Your Vibes is woo-woo's where it's at. Embrace your woo-woo, because woo-woo is there's more than your logic brain. Thank God. Thank God that there's more than your personal logic brain going on in this universe, because you live in a very small thimble of a world. If only your logic brain is considered real.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So one thing I want to say, and we're going to really, move ahead here in the Beyond Big Influence show, is Sonia. She was building her business for a while offline. She was definitely like speaking on stages, making a huge impact. She's a great, powerful speaker, very funny, can engage an audience amazingly well. Your transition online, how was that for you? Like, what was the process? Like, did you have to trust your gut? Did you get hit a lot of times? Did you learn some lessons? Like, was it tough? How was it?
I would say I originally, my first transition was 10 years ago when I got the intuition that I didn't need to work with people in person. That I could start coaching them. I could do intuitive work with them no matter where they were in the world. This was way before there was Zoom and this and that.
When was that? What year?
This was in 97.
97. Okay. 98. This was when the internet was just getting started, right?
Yeah.
Because 97, I was in high school.
I said to Ryan, who was with me for just a year or two, I said, I need to start being able to talk to people around the world, not just people sit in front of me. So that was my first transition. And he said, he was skeptical because I'm the gas and everybody else is the brake. So I was like, I don't know, Sonia. And I said, well, I'm willing. I am fearless. I said, we could try it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
And it worked. So that was my first jump. My second jump was that I thought, I need to touch more people. I need to get information to more people. And that is when I had moved to Paris, and I met a guy quite accidentally. And I wasn't on social media much. I had a little Facebook, but I wasn't paying attention. And he told me to meet you. He said you were the son of his mother's friend.
David Brower, right?
Yeah.
And I was with Brendon Burchard's mom in Las Vegas. I was going to meet somebody. We were with Les Brown the same day. We went to this little lunch place. She pulled up this guy, David Brower, and said, hey, you got to meet this guy. And then he said, you got to meet Sonia, right?
Right. So my vibes come through sound. I don't ask for an explanation. I didn't ask for who you were. He said, you got to meet Jesse. And my spirit said, yes. I got green light, go.
Okay.
So I said, okay, give me his name. And I didn't even.
Why was that? What said that was a good guy?
I call that a vibrational match. See, there's your intellect going, explain that.
Yeah,
mine
exactly.
never does. See, my brain will never ask that question.
Yeah, okay.
I don't. I got yes, that's okay. That's enough.
Yeah.
So then I said, give me his address, and I wrote you, and you ignored me.
I did.
And I knew.
For how long? What was
you
your,
ignored
what was
me for a
side?
couple months. You ignored me for a couple months, and I thought, well, I thought you're full of yourself, so I'll have to get. I have to have.
My ego. I got to bring the ego back down.
I have to have. And I thought you don't. You have an idea of who I am that has nothing to do with who I am, so we'll talk. Yeah. And once you meet me, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what happened. So that was my next jump. And so then I had to go back to Ryan and explain you to Ryan, my business manager. Yeah. And he's like, who the hell is Jesse? Yeah. And I said, I don't really know.
He didn't like me at first. You know, me and Ryan are great friends.
He's very protective of me.
He didn't like me at all.
He didn't like you, and he really didn't like your team.
Yeah.
So I had to then now do this opposite with you. I had to do with him. And I had to say, well, let's not judge. Let's just give this a go. I said, I'm sorry, Ryan. My intuition says, let's do this.
Yeah.
And that was all.
That's crazy to me. Because you got that pit bull saying no, and you still power through it. That is how powerful Sonia is.
You're working with someone who's psychic, okay? You have to say yes. And the only reason I'm going to say, the only explanation I'm going to give you is I feel it. And I'm willing to fail. So I'm willing to say if I'm wrong, I'll stand by that. I will stand by that this could be a bust. It's no problem. I'm not controlling. If I get a green light, I trust it'll work out.
Let's do it.
And we had to go through a learning curve, but it did work out.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty quick. Like we built the first funnel. It was doing like a 10X or 7X ROI right out of the gate, and I was shocked. I mean, you did have that really cool angel ad, which is awesome.
And that was also intuitive. I've never done a video in my life, but I told my friend, I said, I have to make a video so people get a visual because they all have an idea and I have to show them what it looks like.
100%.
So in 4 hours, my friends and I did this video. I've never acted in my life, but I think we have a couple million views on that now.
Yeah, like over 2.5 or it might even be more than that.
Might be. I don't watch it, but it makes the point, and it was so fun. And that's the other thing about intuition. If it's right, it's easy. If it's a good connection, it's not going to be, okay, we're going to have our challenges. We may have to make our adjustments, but it's never going to be awful.
Yeah.
If it's awful, stop.
Yeah. Pivot, do something else, right?
Quit.
Yeah.
Red lights, stop. Yeah. I really make all my decisions based on energy. If it feels good, it opens. I lean in. If it shuts, I go. And I don't ever ask why.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my superpower.
It's incredible. Okay, so because we're going to get into Sonia's built this brand online where most people get stuck. I mean, I've experienced that myself, and she's just moved to thing. She's on like all social media, crushing it, moving forward, just making huge progress. And, it's because of this intuition, like what she does. Every entrepreneur needs to go through her training. I need to do it myself. I mean, it's really amazing.
I do
what
agree.
You're talking about,
Like, for example, I ignored social media for a while. And then I got the intuition, now's the time. And for me, what that meant was the consciousness of people are opening up now. Because I'm used to everybody going, you're crazy, you're nuts. And I dance really well in the fire. But all of a sudden, when I got the intuition, I immediately mobilized and said, okay, now's the time. And I picked up in like 30 days, like 80,000 new followers just showing up.
Wow.
But it was an intuition. It was like, I'm not going to force this. I can't do anything forced, but I know that I can feel now that people, and there's a word that people don't know what it means. It's called zeitgeist. A zeitgeist is when the whole culture changes their consciousness. And we're at that level right now where the whole world has been like intuition, psychic, stupid, angels, guides, stupid. And all of a sudden, just like everybody used to say, oh, the earth is flat, the earth is flat. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, the earth is round.
Yep.
We're right there. And I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it to say, look, can you imagine what your life would be like if you just said yes to your intuition when it guided you?
Yeah.
Or you listened to it every time? Can you imagine? Because I can tell you it'll be really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've lived an amazing life to this point. I mean, you traveled the world. I mean, how many countries have you been to, would you say?
I think I've been to over 100 countries. I know I've taught at least 40. I know human beings. I know human beings because I've talked to them very intimately and watched and worked with them for over 50 years. And so here's the thing. I have never met somebody who hasn't had an intuitive feeling. That is not the challenge. The challenge is to get your brain out of the way that wants to control everything. And to let that intuition be the leader of your life. Yeah. And so I've asked people around the world, China, Argentina, Mexico, Canada, United States, France, Germany, England, Croatia, have you ever had an intuitive feeling? And I'll say, who has never had anybody raise their hand? And I'll say, where does it come from? Where does it come from? Nobody ever does this. They all go here. Yeah. Because it's your body, it's hardwired. Yeah. It's natural. Okay, Sonia, so I'm over here. You've known me for a while. We've interacted in person for a couple hours and, some online and, here and there throughout the years. I mean, we've known each other, 7 years or so, something like that? I think 7 or 8 years now. 7 years. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I didn't know for sure. So anyway, from what you know about me, what advice would you give me to have me get out of my way and start, focusing on something to move forward to improve myself from what you know? I don't know if you need more. No, I know exactly what you need. Okay. You need to be quiet and listen more, but not with your head and not to words. You need to listen. Yeah. Listen to energy because you are able to pick up on it, but your head's busy and it's active and it's creative and it's exciting, but it can be noisy. So you need to make time for every decision to just sit and listen with your heart and your body, like your whole body, and just breathe and listen. And that's pretty much going to adjust anything that's causing problems for you. Okay. Every decision, like what am I going to eat right now? When am I going to drink water? Yeah. You don't have to sit and listen for an hour. Give it 3 or 4 breaths. 3 or 4 breaths for every decision. Yeah. And then before you listen, you have to do something called empty the garbage. And here's how you do it. Look around and notice where I am, because this is how you get out of your head. So you look around and you name a couple of things, like name a couple things that are right in front of you. Just physical things. My phone, my microphone, my kombucha. Okay, 3 things. Okay, now turn your body inward and just feel the energy in your body. And then I want you to pull your belly to your spine and exhale like you're blowing out candles and empty it like this. Just push, push, push. Breathe up from your feet. Open your jaw really wide and go, ah.
Ah.
Then smile. You notice how your head got quiet?
Yeah, I feel better.
Now you can listen.
Okay.
Now you can listen.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do that routine, the little exercise?
Yeah, because what that does is the exhaling empties, quiets your breath, looking around brings you back to your body. This, it actually stimulates something called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve holds all our tension. It's really like everybody out of the pool. It's instant meditation, really. And now you're able to listen.
Okay. Now you can make a better decision.
So let's try this with a decision.
Okay.
So give me a decision you're struggling with that you care to share.
What should I eat for lunch?
Okay. Are you struggling with it? Because it has to be a genuine question for your intuition to get involved.
Yeah, I do struggle with that, honestly, because, I want to eat healthy, but what do I have available? Do I want to go drive somewhere to get food, or do I want to cook?
Okay.
Do I have time to cook? Like, I do struggle with this,
So it can consume a lot of headspace.
Yeah.
So just blow out. Blow that whole conversation out. Breathe up from your feet. Open your jaw and let out a long, loud sigh. Ah.
Ah.
Smile. Put your hand on your heart and say, my heart says, and answer it. Your heart says.
My heart says, I'm going to eat salmon and vegetables and rice.
Okay, so here's the thing.
And I do have that ready, so. And
so here's my next question. And this is a good question to follow up on intuition, because people go, well, what if I'm figuring out? You don't say, is that right? You ask, is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Can you feel it here?
Yeah, I do.
So you practice. This is so simple. But what I did is, and it took me 50 years to create the simplest tools. I mean, it's simple, but I tried every which way. But it's like, get you in your body, get your head quiet, teach you to let your heart speak by talking to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Feel what it says and then check it. Does that feel true? Do
you do this all the time?
Well, I'm so automatic. I don't have to. I'm just, does it feel true? Does it feel true?
Yeah.
But it's if I'm teaching you to play the piano, eventually you're just going to play. But these are the steps to start playing the intuitive frequencies of your life. It's easier and easier.
Okay.
My head's quiet. I don't have a noisy head because I ignore it. I just ignore it.
Yeah.
A lot of people think what their head says is important, but it's not.
Okay. Wow. So
ask me a business question.
There's a phrase that comes up, and I have one. We're gonna go into that in a second. Hindsight is 20/20. People always say that. That's because
you got your intuitive feeling, but you ignored it.
Yes.
You received your vibe, and you chose to ignore it.
Yeah.
And then I call that the woulda, coulda, shoulda club.
Yeah.
It's a bummer to belong.
Yeah.
You did but okay. You felt it. You just chose to ignore it.
100%.
Now, here's something I teach people. Express your intuition and then tell yourself, I can choose to ignore it. But a lot of people don't even want to feel it because they don't want to listen. To me, the biggest obstacle to your intuition is that you want to live in emotional bullshit. You just want to live in nonsense. You want to believe in your alternative reality, and intuition is truth serum. So if you really, it's like, I don't want to know about my boyfriend that I'm dating because I don't want to be alone. But it's like, but you're dating the ex-murderer, okay? Whatever. It's like, I don't want to quit my job because I'm afraid to trust my creativity. It's like, yeah, but your partner's quitting the job and your partner's going to start the business. So don't hate your partner when your partner succeeds. You're choosing to stay here.
Yeah.
So you have to be honest. It's a part of it.
Yeah, 100%. So, transitioning into, talking about what you've been doing on social media, monetizing, all that kind of stuff. So what's working for you right now on social? Like as far as building
here's
your
what's
brand?
working for me. I don't use social media to get anything.
Okay.
It's just poison. I don't use it to get attention. I don't use it to get importance. I use it as a service to give. Mm-hmm. And I really do give everything I can. Every support, but I do understand that some of the tools I have could be of service to people. So on my reels, I just give. And on my stories, I will say, if you want to learn more, here's where you can find it. Here is a tool, here's a course, here's a book. And I say, trust your vibes. Mm-hmm. Check it out. I trust people. I say, I'm going to speak to your spirit. If it's right for you, you'll do it. I trust people to know what's good for them if I speak to the part of them that makes those decisions. And I feel if you go on social media to get something, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Because you'll never, what you're trying to get is approval, recognition, financial breakthrough. This is a machine that's a black hole in space if you want to get something. If you want to give something. And so I just do my reels and I do my thing and I do my videos and then I ignore it. I don't look at what's coming back. I trust it'll work out. And it works out really well that way.
Yeah, and what's been happening in the last couple of years, I know you've been growing quite a bit on YouTube, Instagram starting to take off. You've had some videos that went viral on YouTube and Instagram.
I know, it's so fun. They're surprising, but I have no agenda with what I do. I just really, truly want to help people I want people to have their sixth sense because I'm serious to say you cannot be happy without it. You'll manage, you'll get by, but you'll be fearful. And I don't want people to be fearful because that doesn't bring out good stuff. When we're fearful, we don't behave well. So I really feel like it's a way to help the planet. So I did my YouTube. I ignored all these things, and I mostly still ignore them in terms of results. Mm-hmm. There are people who manage that and pay attention to it, but I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. So
I don't want to ever be put in a mental state where I have to do something to get a result because that's not me. I do something because it feels in alignment with who I am. But it seems to be working.
Yeah, so you just give and be consistent and you'll receive over time. And
it's like, this is how naive I am on one level. I didn't know that when you grow a YouTube channel that it'll pay you. I had no idea. Yeah, I just found that out.
Into the revenue,
I just found that out. It's like, oh my God, you're kidding. What a fun surprise, but but so I think if you're going to use socials, they have to be portals for you to share what you love and that it's its own reward.
Yeah. No.
If you really love what you're doing and you love sharing it with people, they will want more of you naturally.
Yeah. And you can last 50 years,
And honest to God, I was out in the wilderness for the longest time. When I met you, I was still in the wilderness. Like, I don't do that stuff. But I think that it's now coming into mainstream. Very much so, very quickly. And I still out in the wilderness did what I did. I never stopped. And it's because I loved empowering people. And if you love what you're doing and you truly are, people are intuitive. They're going to feel your authenticity. They're going to feel your integrity. They're going to feel your care and concern and your desire to be supportive. And if you're just trying to schmooze and be fake, they'll feel it.
Yeah.
And they'll ignore you.
Absolutely. So Sonia, I know you're heart centered to the core. I mean, every time I ask something, you're going to go and say, well, it's about service to the people. And I love the people, which is absolutely true for you. And that's your brand, and that's you and your heart and your gut and everything. So for the people out there that are, and I don't know if you want to speak to it, because I know you're authentic and this and that, but there are people out there that want to know how you made money. I
feel like what I do has value. Believe me, I'm not saying be a servant.
Yeah.
I'm saying be of service.
Yeah.
So let's not get confused with language.
Okay.
Whoop, I'm knocking you over. I have value. In fact, I think what I do is probably some of the most valuable stuff you're going to find. And I have evidence because I don't advertise. Everybody comes to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So if what you're doing has value, just know who you are. Mm-hmm. Know who you are and then deliver what you say you're going to deliver, and deliver the best you possibly can. So, and I tell people all the time, don't be cheap. Be authentic. Ask for energy out, energy in should match.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you, and so believe me, I'm heart-centered, but I'm also very grounded, and I support a lot of people. So I need to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people who work for me, who have livelihoods, who have families, who need to take money home. It's not just me. So I'm happy to prosper, but I'm prospering because, and for people out there, if you have a product or a service and you love what you're doing and you do it well, then you know your value. You should know your value. Don't depend on others to know your value and tell you you're valuable, because then you're asking them to take care of you. They don't want to take care of you. They need you to take care of them. Right? Yeah. So if someone's like, I did this service, do you like me? It's like, no, I don't, because you don't trust yourself. So why should I?
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day. They said, the number one thing for you to have success, and this was, their perspective, is you really got to know and be, and show other people and demonstrate to other people that you 100% know what you're talking about, and you can't be like unsure of yourself.
Yeah, you can't, and people feel it. You can't fake it.
They pick up on that. Yep.
You're all intuitive. Everybody has various degrees of acknowledging that on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, we are tracking it. And you have to 100% believe in yourself, and what you're doing is authentic and legitimate. And you can't be needy. You have to give to give. It's like, I will exchange my effort for this sum of money, and don't tell me I'm not worth it. I am. If I'm not worth it to you, then I'm not for you. Yeah, that's absolutely. My response. If someone says, oh my God, you're so expensive. It's like, not really. An hour with me will change your life. So I'm a bargain, but if it's not worth it to you, no problem. I will never talk anybody into being a client. Yeah. Go the other way.
Yeah, because you got to trust your intuition, right?
Don't betray yourself.
Yeah.
Don't betray yourself for any reason. And don't be arrogant. Don't be ego. Don't let your ego be the driver of your business. Mm-hmm. Let your spirit, your creativity, your passion for what you do, your heart, for guys, your gut. But don't say, I want a business. I'm going to have a business, and I need you to keep reassuring me as my client that I'm okay, because that's obnoxious.
Yeah, 100%.
Anybody, and it's in your voice, it's in your tone, it's in your vibe, it's just obnoxious. People are, it's like, if you are selling anything to anybody, it's because you want to be of service to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, I want to be of service to you, but really you need to take care of my ego, well, that's not the deal. I'm trying to take care of my own ego. If you got to come in here and be needy too, I can't do business with you. You don't trust you. I don't want to trust you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all amazing. I mean, this is all wisdom. Sonia's been doing this for a long time, and
I coach businesses, big
absolutely.
business people, big global leaders. I coach people who are.
Can you name any of them here, or is it?
Well, I can, because he just
so people give some context.
One of my clients, for example, is maybe not in America, but in Europe, is a very well-known musician named Craig David.
Yeah,
he's huge. Yeah, and he just wrote a book, and he wrote in his book that I taught him.
Yeah, wow.
and his book is called The Vibe. It's like,
yeah. That's awesome.
So from there, I have a woman whose name is Fern Cotton. She has a big podcast, I think 3 million followers. I coach her sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have coached I coach a woman who's helped build airports across America. Business people, construction people. She quotes me all the time. I have one of the number one I have a client who's a billionaire. I will not use her name, but she is a billionaire in a family business generations old.
Wow.
And I coach her on how to run her board.
Wow.
So I'm a businesswoman. I have coached people in business. I have restaurateurs who have hundreds of restaurants. I have filmmakers I've coached. I have coached and people who have started manufacturing companies. So I have worked with people in business. Everything in life is business. But here's what I'll say to anybody listening. Every business is actually relationships.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you have a good one with yourself, you're going to have a good one in the world.
Yeah. All wisdom here, guys. If you're just tuning in now, you need to go back and rewatch this from the beginning. You're going to learn so much. You're going to get in tune with yourself. You're going to go out there and service the world on a whole different level. Sonia, can you put up your book, Trust Your Vibes? We're going to go through that now because
I'll show you. This is my book. I wrote this 20 years ago, and it's been successful, but I had to rewrite it because the world's changed. So this is my book, Trust Your Vibes. And the subtitle is Live an Extraordinary Life by Using Your Intuitive Intelligence.
Okay, and go to soniachoquette.com. You can pick it up. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and just kind of show you how you can get access to this book. And it's absolutely amazing. It'll change your life. How many people have purchased this or read this book, would you say, to date?
Well, I know from the first version, I have over 1 million people have read Trust Your Vibes. So this one's just out. I hope it can be 100 million because I want to change the planet.
Absolutely. So if you go to soniachoquette.com, it'll take you to soniachoquette.net. This pop-up will be here. You just click on this and you can go and grab the book. And this looks like one of the pages that we built with you. So
yeah. In fact, Jesse, I give the book away.
Yeah, it's free. You just cover shipping for $6.99. You get the book shipped to you. It's amazing. Just put your information in there and get the book sent out. How long does it take to get it? About? Depends on probably where you're at, right?
Unless you're far away, you'll get it within days.
Okay, so go to soniachoquette.com or soniachoquette.net and you can click here, grab the book. Check out what Sonia does. She does a lot of things. You can get your little card reading. There's tons of things you can check out about her. It's a full website. She's worked extremely hard in her career, and that reflects on this beautiful brand that she's built on her website. So go to soniachoquette.com, soniachoquette.net. Check that out. Make sure you grab her book, Trust Your Vibe. She's got other books too that I recommend. Definitely get all of her books. And where can they get access to all of your books? There's right here, books, right? You just click on books here.
Yeah, books on my site will take you to my books.
Yeah, so my books, you can go here and, Amazon, you can search for her, but, you can see here, she's got a number of books here. It's quite a bit.
I've written 28 books.
She's been very busy in her career, and she's done a lot of work in 50 years, guys. So make sure you take advantage of the value that we have here today with Sonia. And, I really appreciate you for being here, Sonia. You're absolutely amazing. Every time I talk to you, I learn so much. And, I'm just really, really excited for our relationship, where it's going. What's your
you're
plan?
A very important part of my success in the world. And I do want everybody listening to know that. Jessie has created a platform and a support and a network for me that takes all my brilliant, big ideas and actually gets them into the consciousness and awareness of people. So that is your genius. And I really appreciate it, because it's been a game changer for me in bazillion ways.
Yeah. And, now we've generated an email list pretty big together. And I think you're just warming up, though. I mean, how much longer do you want to do this? I mean, what's
I think probably till I die.
I remember when I was with you in Hollywood, we were having pizza or whatever, that little Chicago place. And you were saying, I want to retire soon, I want my daughter to kind of take over the brand, and and your daughter's doing a great job, and we got her stuff going. I think she's going to start taking off now. I really think she's got potential, but
she is genius. But I definitely feel like I will always do something, but working one-on-one with clients, I'd love to have my daughters take over. They're so gifted.
Yeah. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You've put a lot in there. They've got intuition. They can carry on the legacy well into the years. So, and probably the granddaughter as well,
Already.
So we appreciate you so much, Sonia. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Jessie. All my love.
Make sure you go and follow Sonia Choquette across social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. She's everywhere. Make sure you get on her stuff. She's got gems, value videos she puts out daily, or at least every other day. So there's just so much content there. It'll keep you busy. Make sure you go to SoniaChoquette.com. Make sure you grab all of her books, her courses, go through her funnels, get in touch with her, work with her one-on-one. She'll change your life, guys. Thank you so much, Sonia.
Thank you, Jessie.
What are your last words? I know you got to go here in 1 minute. So what's the last thing in the next
I would say
seconds?
the last thing is, no matter what you're doing, make sure that you have fun with it. Have fun with it. Make it fun for you, because that is if you're having fun with it in some way, people will want to participate and be connected to you.
That's wisdom right there. That's absolute wisdom. If you're not having fun, why do it, right? You can monetize what you're doing.
Absolutely. And there's no limit to the amount of money. My mom said, I'll end with this. My mom said, there's never a lack of money, only a lack of imagination.
Wow. That's wisdom there, guys. Beyond Big Influence Show, Jessie Dobeck, Sonia Choquette. Thank you so much for coming on, Sonia.
Thanks,
Have a great
Jessie.
day. We'll be in touch. Okay, take care. Bye.